Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvena Vaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We'll chant Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, verses 7 to 10. Sorry, 6 to 10.
द्वौ भूतसर्गौ लोकेऽस्मिन् दैव आसुर एव च दैवो विस्तरशः प्रोक्तः आसुरं पार्थ मे शृणु प्रवृत्तिं च निवृत्तिं च जना न विदुरासुराः न शौचं नापि चाचारः न सत्यं तेषु विद्यते असत्यमप्रतिष्ठं ते जगदाहुरनीश्वरम् अपरस्परसम्भूतं किमन्यत् कामहैतुकम् एतां दृष्टिमवष्टभ्य नष्टात्मानोऽल्पबुद्धयः प्रभवन्त्युग्रकर्माणः क्षयाय जगतो हिताः काममाश्रित्य दुष्पूरं दम्भमानमदान्विताः मोहाद् गृहीत्वा सद्ग्राहान् प्रवर्तन्ते शुचिव्रताः.
We have covered up to shloka number 8 in this chapter. This is called as the yoga of divine and the demoniac. In every one of us, there is both these qualities. The yoga of divine and demoniac qualities is a chapter. In every one of us, there is both these divine qualities and the demoniac qualities. In fact, the very symbolism of the Mahabharata war, which happened between the Kauravas and the Pandavas, represent this only. The evil forces and the good forces in us. And always the evil forces are more in number compared to the good forces. Now, if the good forces align with the divinity within, represented by Sri Krishna, then they can rise above the evil forces and establish dharma. If we don't align with the divinity within, then we are more likely to give in to the evil forces. In fact, in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is asking this question in the 3rd chapter. I know very well I should not do this. I know very well I should do this. Yet I am not able to bring myself to do the right thing. And yet I am not able to control myself from doing the things that I should not be doing. What is the reason for it? And Sri Krishna says, Kama esha krodha esha rajo guna samudbhavaha. The reason is, Arjuna, the kama, desire, and krodha, the anger. That is an outcome of desire. In the sense, when the desire is interrupted, you get angry. So, the real problem is this kama and krodha, which comes from the rajo guna. All of us are made up of these 3 gunas. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. The goal is to completely annihilate Tamas, reduce Rajas, increase Sattva, and go beyond Sattva. That's the idea. How much we succeed depends on each one's effort. But that's the purpose. The more and more we are able to conquer tamas and rajas, by conquering tamas and rajas, the sattva increases. See, it's like this. Sun's light falls on all the reflecting medium, even on a pond. Now, but if the pond is covered with green mantle, what we call as kayi in Hindi, that moss, thick moss, now the reflection is not seen because it's covered by green mantle. Now, little by little, you work on removing the green mantle, and when you are successfully removing quite a bit of it, even though still that little dirt is there, you could see the reflection, but it is dirty. You understand? Though the reflection seems to be dirty, the real sun is not tainted by the green mantle. You understand? Similarly, the Atma in us is not tainted, never tainted. It is reflecting through this mind, which is having sattva, rajas, tamas. And there is more of tamas and rajas. When it's too much tamas, you don't see any even little bit of Atma shining through that person. That is how he will be or she will be. There is too much tamas. But when they work on themselves and remove quite a good amount of tamas, then rajas is there. You will see the reflection, but it is like that, the dirty reflection. But if you keep removing the tamas and rajas, the reflection is seen more and more and more and clear. So sattva increases as the tamas and rajas is removed. And when sattva increases, you know how to live. You know the right from the wrong. But when rajas is there, when tamas is there, tamas is ignorance, rajas is confusion. So when these are there, we may do many things which are bound to be giving us agitations. So, the goal, therefore, we say, is to rise from tamas to rajas to sattva and go even beyond sattva, beyond gunas, which is the Atma. Atma is nirguna, beyond any qualities. The consciousness is devoid of all qualities. So we have to rise above sattva also. But for that, all we need to do is annihilate rajas and tamas 100%. Then only 100% sattva will be there. 100% sattva cannot exist by itself. Because what is sattva? Like I told you, power of inertia, tamas. Power of activity, rajas. Power of knowledge or balance is sattva. So, when for life, there has to be rest also, there has to be activity also. But only rest, no life possible. Only activity, no life possible. There has to be balance. So these three forces. Sattva is power of knowledge or balance. Tamas is power of inertia. Rajas is power of activity. These three are there. So balance makes sense only when these two forces exist. When these two forces don't exist, you go beyond the balance also. That is, you reach the consciousness. So this is the idea. So now, he says, he first in the chapter 16, he talks about the divine qualities. Like I said, the more we move towards the center, the more these qualities shine forth. The more we get closer and closer to the periphery, more demoniac qualities shine forth. Each one of us have a choice to function at the level of periphery or at the core, the center. The more we get closer and closer to the center, the divinity within, the Atma, the mind expands to identify with a larger circle. As a result, there will be calmness within, less insecurity, and more harmony peace, clarity, etc. But when we go more towards the periphery, where I begin to see myself as Lakshmi Narayan, separate from the world, and Parul is there, Surabhi is there, Arvind is there, Abhinav is there, everybody is different. Then I think, Parul might get more than me, or she may take away from me, so I should protect this thing. So then all the nonsense starts. You understand? The demoniac thing to secure this ego. This is a false notion where I'm going only with my external perception, not going into the deeper penetrative thinking. Isn't it? So therefore, such people are demoniac. Demoniac doesn't have to be like you see in the, Ramayana Mahabharata series where the demons are with protruding tooth and maybe a mouth in the stomach. It's not necessary. In fact, I've been saying in my classes also, nowadays, the villains are more good looking, well built in the movies than the heroes. Some of them get introduced as villains and they go to become an excellent hero. You understand? That's what happens. So, it is nothing to do with the external appearance. It's to do with the inner qualities. So that's what he's talking about. And scriptures are more like a mirror. When we go stand in front of the mirror, it reflects our personality. If there is some doubt on our face, it will show. It's not going to say, he will, he's taking care of me, every day is cleaning me, so I should not show the dirt. The mirror is not going to say that. Doesn't matter even if you are taking care of the mirror. You go and stand in front of the mirror, it will show the face as it is. So, you go stand in front of the scripture. You go stand in front of the guru. You go stand in front of the divinity. That's why they say, the more spiritual you become, more difficult your life starts becoming. No, it's true. One fellow wrote a letter to Swamiji says so. One fellow wrote a letter after visiting the ashram and he went back to US or something. From there he wrote a letter saying, I was a very happy man until I met you. And it's true. The sense, see, today we are thinking, if you ask a question, who's the best person in the world, according to you, you'll say you, myself. But when you read the scripture, you will know, listen, there is so much dirt in me. Like, because I'm into this talking Gita for so many years, and especially in the north, people have so much respect. So they say Guruji, Swamiji, Lakshmi Narayan ji and all that. But the difference is, I am doing this because it's an opportunity for me to study, talk, so that I can increase my sattva. You are listening to increase your sattva, only that is the difference. This is the truth. And everybody has all the three till you become enlightened. Because that's when you have gone to beyond sattva state, beyond guna state. It's called guna atita or sattva atita. So, when we get closer and closer to the center, the divine qualities increase. And if we want to really study the scripture, understand it more, get established in that, we also need to consciously put in effort and work on increasing the divine qualities. And he has mentioned so many qualities, 26 I suppose. In that you can take one or two, whichever inspires you, and work on it. When you work on that quality, all the other qualities automatically increase. It's not as if only this will increase. You understand? So first thing when he talked about divine, first thing he said, abhayam. Abhayam means fearlessness. Why will fear come? And we say in Vedanta, dvitiya bhayam bhavati. The moment duality comes, bhayam comes. Right? See, when we go to South Africa or any African country, and you see African, black person, he is well built, he's looking completely different. He may be such a nice person, we don't know. But just the external appearance, we may feel little threatened, scared. And when we come back to our country, we feel, okay, fine. What has happened here? It's oneness. There is a separateness, isn't it? The moment separateness comes, fear comes. Ego is the root cause of fear. And we are operating on this. This is called samsara. So, therefore, when we gain the knowledge about our true nature, the Atma, all insecurities go. All fear goes. There is no jealousy, no greed, no arrogance, no nothing. That's why Swami Vivekananda said, I don't know if I gained anything coming to spirituality, but I've lost many things like anger, jealousy, greed, and all that. When all that is gone, you are the divinity. The divinity shines through. So therefore, you have to work and develop these divine qualities, which he mentioned. Then he is talking about the demoniac qualities in detail now from 7. In 6, he said, there are two beings. One is divine, other is demoniac. And then he assured Arjuna, don't worry Arjuna, you are of a divine nature. Psychologically helping him to, and it's true also. See, he's got a license to go and kill on the battlefield. Yet he's thinking whether what he's doing is right. You understand? Obviously, he's a divine person. He's not saying, okay, I've got a license now, I don't care. Not like, he's going and killing. He's thinking, listen, I don't know whether what I'm doing is right. I'm confused. Give me clarity. That's how the Gita started, right? So, Sri Krishna therefore says, don't worry Arjuna, you are of divine nature. And since I spoke elaborately about divine, but only a little bit about demoniac, now let me talk about their nature and conduct in detail. This is what he's doing from verse 7 to 15. So last week we saw verse 7 and 8, I think. So now we'll have to see from 9. But now in 7, what did he say? The demoniac people do not know action from inaction. Pravritti, nivritti. What is to be done? What is not to be done? See, tamasic fellow will do what ought not to be done. Avoid what has to be done because he's totally ignorant. Rajasic fellow is confused. So therefore, they have no clarity about what is pravritti, what is nivritti. We do, see, it depends. Like if you think you are the body, then from that angle you think these are all to be done, this you don't do. If you think you are the emotional personality, then accordingly you will have your own do's and don'ts. If you think you're the intellectual, then accordingly you will have that. If you feel yourself as a spiritual person, then your pravritti nivritti will become much clearer. So that's what he's saying. The demoniac people who are at the periphery, they don't know. What is the obligation? What you ask, what's the purpose of life? For many, it is just acquisition and enjoyment. And how you're going to do that? I don't know. The way everybody is doing. And they believe through acquisition, enjoyment, they can find that happiness, freedom that they want. They believe. So, they're unmindfully getting into that as the only thing. You understand? So the demonic people do not have clarity in thought. And then he says neither purity of heart. Shaucham is neither there internally nor externally. In thought, word and deed. See, the more and more you get closer and closer to the center, you realize that you are the consciousness and not the body, mind, intellect. And when you realize that you are the consciousness and not the body, mind, intellect, you also see that everybody is a consciousness, not the body, mind, intellect. In fact, there is another Gita. There are many Gitas. One very important Gita is Ashtavakra Gita. Now, this Ashtavakra Gita is not for everybody. In fact, Ashtavakra Gita is even more terse than Upanishads. It's not for everybody to study, because if you're not evolved and you read Ashtavakra Gita, you will misunderstand and you may become more tamasic than sattvic. Because in the Ashtavakra Gita, the level is so high. You understand? It's like PhD. There, how the whole Ashtavakra Gita begins is very interesting. Sage Ashtavakra was only 12 years old. His father had gone to the king's court, Janak's court, for some debate. He had not come back for a few days or so. So the mother was worried. So the mother said, please go and check what's happening. So he's coming to the palace. He's entered the palace, he's coming to the court when all the wise men are sitting and king is also sitting. And Ashtavakra means he has 8 bends in his body. So when he enters walking in completely with a deformed body, all these so-called wise men within inverted commas, they're laughing, looking at him. So this fearless, Tejasvi young boy, Ashtavakra, looks at the king directly and says, I thought your court will be filled with wise men, but I can see only cobblers here. You understand? King said, what? What do you mean? They're all wise people. Why are you telling they're cobblers? Because cobbler is only concerned about the leather, the skin, the outer surface. So these fellows saw my deformed body and started laughing. So their identification is still with the body. So they are all not wise men. Wise person means he is the core, not the periphery. Do you get it? See, even from a worldly angle, no cultured person will do any body shaming of anybody. You understand? Impossible. Seeing the color and discriminating, seeing the sex and discriminating, seeing the deformity and discriminating, it's impossible. Can't do it. So, Ashtavakra says, you are only having cobblers. King Janaka comes down, prostrates, and then the Ashtavakra Gita starts. He says, I'm your disciple, please teach me. He asks questions, and the first chapter, Sage Ashtavakra talks. Both of them, in the very first chapter after listening, King Janaka has become realized. That means what? He is at a very high state. That's why the little bit knowledge itself was enough to convert him. Then, thereafter, it's a conversation, rest of the 19 chapters, between two realized souls. That is Ashtavakra Gita. Why I'm saying that in this context is, even from a worldly level, if you have attained some amount of refinement, it's impossible that you will talk to people identifying with their body, with their accent, with their, whatever shortcomings. You'll see the core. If you are seeing the superficial, means you are at that level. There's a quotation, I'm forgetting. It says, what Peter talks about Paul talks more about Peter than Paul. Isn't it? What Peter talks about Paul talks more about Peter than Paul. It's a wonderful quotation. So, I don't know whose quotation it is, I only remember the quotation. So, the more and more you move towards the center, the purity will be there. Identifying with the center, it's impossible to hurt another being. Automatically you will see somebody has put in the chat that they can't hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Sir. So, therefore, when he says they lack purity, shaucham, in thought, word, and deed. in the environment, in the word, in thought, in action, in everything there is no purity. Then there is no good conduct, acharya. Nor truth is found in them. They are not bothered about the truth. They are more, what do you call, planning and scheming than being really truthful. This is what he said in 7. Then in 8 he said, there is another interesting shloka. They say, this world is asatyam, apratishtam, anishwaram. Asatya means it is without truth, without reality, without satyam. Apratishtam means without foundation. And anishtam means anishwaram means without any Lord. What Lord are you talking about? What God? What law? Nothing. Everything is chance. And then it says, born of mutual union caused by lust. What else? Man and woman get together, produce, the whole thing has come. World is free for all. Enjoy. Khao piyo maja karo. You understand? That's the philosophy they have, the demoniac people. And that's why they are more terrified. Because for their enjoyment, they say they can do anything. So in their mind, then what they'll think, that means you're also going to do anything for your enjoyment, then I'm at trouble. Isn't it? So you become a threat for me. See, one of the reasons for fear is the destructive nature. You go near the cow, very coolly sitting. Because cow is not so much, there's no destructive nature at all in them. Whereas a tiger or a lizard, which is constantly killing insects, highly destructive. That's how they live, survive. So if you tap on the table here, the lizard is running fast because they are destroying. So they are more scared of that they can be destroyed. Isn't it? So world is a projection of your thought. So they say there is no Lord, nothing. What are you talking about? Just enjoy. You understand? And no satyam, nityam, nothing. This is it. What you are seeing is what is unnecessarily confused. God, this thing, that thing. Where? Show me. If there is God, show me. So every time when people ask me, is there God? I tell them, I don't know. You find out. If you're serious, you find out. Now, if somebody asks me, is Abhinav in this house? And I'm standing outside. Just like that, I'm saying Abhinav is not there. Or I'm saying Abhinav is there. Does it make any sense? I have to first come into the house, go into each and every nook and corner of this house. Then, if I see Abhinav not there, then I say Abhinav is not there. Okay. Or if I say Abhinav is there, okay. Nothing I'm doing. Simply I'm saying Abhinav not there, Abhinav there. Isn't this how everybody is talking about God? Even those people who believe in God, what have they done to soul search? Okay. Right? To say even that God is not there. So the main thing here is to be authentic. That authenticity will not be there in the demoniac people. It'll all be plastic living. That's what he's saying. They say the world is without reality. Satyam, Gityam. What Satyam? There is no Satyam. You see all these fellows who are taking so much bribe and so much corrupt. See how nicely he's living. See that good person got cancer. See how the whole family is suffering. So, if you talk to them for a while, you will get convinced. What law of karma you're talking about? No karma, nothing. You understand? That's how, because they are going by the perception without any foundation. And they don't want any foundation. So they say it is just a mutual union caused by lust. What else? Next shloka. Verse 9.
एतां दृष्टिमवष्टभ्य नष्टात्मानोऽल्पबुद्धयः प्रभवन्त्युग्रकर्माणः क्षयाय जगतो हिताः.
Holding this view, this perception, the ruined souls of small intellect, nashtatmana alpa buddhaya, meaning ruined, so they are gone case. And they don't have buddhi. That's what it means. Small intellect means no intellect. Alpa buddhi. And they do fierce deeds. They are of fierce deeds. Come forth as enemies for the destruction of the world. See, I told you, asura, deva, asura. Deva means divine. Asura comes from asuhu, ramante, iti asura. Asuhu means breath. One who loves breathing, means one who wants to live. One who is attached to this body by intellect wants to live and enjoy. That is demoniac. Now, Vedanta is not saying you should not live. What Vedanta is saying is, please understand that this is temporary and passing. Don't be attached to it. See the truth and identify with the truth. And then live. But here they are only concerned about living. That is asura. So what happens is, they look at the whole world. Here, destruction of the world, when he says, Jagada, Jagat means world, and Jagat also means people in the world, right? The whole world came to Vrindavan. When you say, whole world means what? People, right? So, they come down as enemies for the destruction of the world. See, if they find that you are a threat for their living, they'll think you need to be destroyed. This whole universe is created for my enjoyment. I have to enjoy at any cost. You understand? I don't care about the others. So basically how the whole thing is coming, when you are more and more closer to the ego. And that person's vision is completely blocked. He sees from and justifies from that angle everything. Then everything becomes justified. So that's what he's saying. From this perception, the ego perception, or from the total perception. What's the difference? When you see it from the total, live and let live. You understand? Or let live, only then can you live. But when you go by your ego, purely from your ego, then I don't care. This is how it is. By putting them down only I can rise. And this is all very justified. And they are seeing immediate benefit. They are not seeing the cause and effect. That's why they are called as small intellect. You understand? Real intellect will see the whole picture. So therefore he says, holding this view, the ruin the souls. See, when you lose your life, or when you have mortgaged your soul and life for that extra comfort, is that, would you categorize that as a wise living? While you're dead. Huh? But for what? That extra little comfort. When you compromise, how do you feel? Sometimes it happens, in life. People work, though they don't really love it, enjoy doing it. क्या करना पड़ता है पैसा के लिए, इसके लिए, उसके लिए. How they feel? They feel wretched, no? So that's what he's saying. They're ruined souls. They have killed themselves for the sake of living. There have gone cases, fierce deeds. He says, Nashtatmano alpa buddhaya prabhavant ugra karmana. Fierce deeds. Best example from the Purana is Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu said, I am God. See, this is the problem. That's why the Mahavakyas of the Upanishads, all these things actually speaking, should be given to people who are qualified. You see, Tattvam Asi, that thou art, is what the scriptures are saying. Chandogya Upanishad says this, Tattvam Asi. Sage Udalaka is giving the knowledge to Shvetaketu. He says, Shvetaketu, Tattvam Asi, you are God. This fellow Hiranyakashipu, he is thinking you are God, means this body, man, intellect, Lakshmi Narayan is God. The fellow who's done sadhana, who's refined, he understands that the Atma is God. See, you can now say, I am Surbi. Or you can say, I am Indian. Or you can say, I am a human being. Or you can say, I am Atma. In सब में बहुत फर्क है, right? So if you say I Tattvamasi, that thou art, that thou, you take a Surabhi. Surabhi is God. So everybody must prostrate to me. Oh, you're not prostrating? Okay, I'll finish. Okay, you're not contributing for my happiness? Finish that. You understand? So they come to fierce deeds, which is what Hiranyakashipu was doing. Right? When I understand that the Atma is God, and the same Atma is reflecting in Parul, is reflecting Surabhi, in everybody, then I say, okay, the same Atma has manifested in different forms, and due to gunas, they have different qualities. So then what happens? There is identification, there is love, there is forgiveness, there is everything. Then I cannot have fierce deed. I'll only do things which is good for everybody. Otherwise, I can go to any extent. This is what he's saying. They are ruined souls. The buddhi is also, totally warped. And they are of small intellect, meaning no intellect. Fierce deeds come forth as enemies for the destruction of the world. In fact, what they don't understand is they're actually killing themselves. See, that story we have read, a hen laying golden egg, one every day. Right? This fellow thought, I'll cut it and get everything. So, like that, when people live out of rajas with greed and arrogance and all that, so what happens is they destroy the world, they destroy themselves. And literally, if you see today what we are doing in the name of civilization, growth, development, everywhere, what are we actually doing? We have destroyed everything. We don't know what to eat because everything is contaminated. And nature we are destroying for making it more convenient for us. It's literally, we are waging war against nature. Well, we're not understanding that we are part of the nature. Instead of living in unison and harmony with nature, We are fighting with it. Why? Because of this thinking. And with the evolution of science, we are doing it much more dangerously. If you have to get rid of a mountain without the technology, maybe it would have taken you a few years. Now with technology, you finish it off in maybe 1 year or 1 month. You understand? And from that, you can make money. But what have you done? You actually destroyed yourself also. Isn't it? See, Thiruvalluvar in Thirukural, in Tamil, he says, the parents are indebted to the children. It is very interesting, always. Always, when you go to any wise person, it's difficult to understand their thinking because they talk from a different angle. We say children should be indebted to parents. He says parents are indebted to children in one context. For example, we have inherited Delhi before our children. We inherited maybe very less polluted Delhi. But what are we giving to our children? Highly polluted Delhi. So the fact that we inherited this world before them, we are obliged to live responsibility to give them the world at least as we received it, if not better place. But is that what we have done? What we have done is the comforts, this, that, everything is increased. But what is the outcome? And we are calling this civilization. It's very, very interesting actually. The Vedanta treatise book also, Swamiji has written this in a different angle. You see, this he doesn't say, but I'm just giving an example. When we were in jungle, our senses were very sharp. In fact, why go that far? Before these mobile phones and all that, we used to remember so many numbers. Using on a daily basis, I'm in contact with, for my work, my personal life and all that, let's say 50 numbers we all used to remember minimum. Memorize, it is there in the memory. Now sometimes our own number we forget. Somebody asks, what's your number? 1 minute. Then we check and then, yeah. Isn't it? Now, is this development or what? The more we depended, but when I used to go to the grocery shops when I was a small teenager or something, the fellow there in the grocery shop, you would have bought some 15 items, simultaneously serving 4-5 fellows. He remembers all the items. I forget what items are. He remembers all the items and he has a pencil on his, the ear. He takes it out, he'll write, he'll add, and for that he'll give you the bill. Not a single mistake he makes in it. 5 bills is given. The same fellow today, if the computer doesn't work, he says, wait. So what is actually happening? We've becoming more and more uncivilized, not civilized. It's not growth. There's only swelling. Swelling is being misunderstood as growth. So this is what he's saying. They come forth as enemies of the destruction of the world for the comfort and for the massaging of the ego. That's it. This is how the small intellect thinks. Because they look from the ego angle. That's how a rajasic person works. Next.
काममाश्रित्य दुष्पूरं दम्भमानमदान्विताः मोहाद् गृहीत्वा सद्ग्राहान् प्रवर्तन्ते शुचिव्रताः.
Abiding in insatiable desire. This is the typical quality of a rajasic person. Always craving for more and more and more. See, our mind gets attached to what we have and craves for what we do not have. Everybody's mind is like that. This is its rajas working. Gets attached to what it has, and craves for what it does not have. Insatiable. That's why the mind is compared to fire. How much ever you offer to the fire, it will eat the whole thing, consume. Or the whole forest it would have consumed. And then it is still looking, can you feed me more? That is our mind. Mind they usually compare to monkey and fire. So, insatiable desire. So even you see in the corporates, when we give them a talk, we say, you are feeding their desire by bringing in the incentive culture rather than bringing in the inspiration culture. By you living certain values with identification, making them get inspired and work what you are doing, you want them to work 2 hours extra, 5 hours extra, whatever it is. And you throw them the bait. And for that, they go. So what do they do? Okay, we are getting more. So we can get a bigger house, maybe other comforts, bigger car, whatever it is. So they fall for it. You are giving them incentive. Now, when that becomes their normal, they get neutralized. You have to keep increasing, keep on increasing. This is what he's saying. Abiding in insatiable desire. The rajasic fellow, the demoniac fellow, impossible that he will be satisfied. Overpowered by hypocrisy. He says, Kama mastritya dushpuram, dambhamanama danvitaha. Dambam. You remember when we studied the demonic qualities, he said that. Fourth sloka. The main thing about the demonic fellow is hypocrisy. Hypocritical fellows fool themselves actually, thinking that they are fooling others. So that's the thing, no? They don't know. So he says, overpowered by hypocrisy. We are only helping the world. We are only doing this. But they are hiding behind and showing as if they are doing something good, but they are trying to take. As if they are givers, but they are takers. Pride and arrogance. All rajasic qualities. And tamasic. Gripped by evil ideas through delusion. See, delusion means what? Kalidasa, before he became Kalidasa, was apparently sitting on a branch of a tree and with a saw cutting that very branch, which means he'll fall down. This is delusion. Thinking that you are doing good, you are actually doing bad for yourself. It's called delusion. Thinking yourself to be this individual while you are actually indivisible. That's delusion. Isn't it? So, gripped by evil ideas through delusion. Because they are thinking themselves to be this ego personality, the fake identity, they have all kinds of evil ideas. Because they are only interested in their growth. See, you destroy the world, get money, from that you do some charity. That's a big deal. Who asked for your charity? You destroyed the mountains and made money. From that, you're doing one CSR, 2%, whatever percentage, 2% I think, of your total profit. You have to do CSR. You're doing CSR. Right? So, gripped by evil ideas through delusion, they work with impure resolve. resolves. Pure means what? Selfish, self-centered, egoistic. Resolve. And they think that's right. That's how it is. If we have to rise, we have to put so many people down. It's all fine. They say, no, all is fair in love and war. All is fair in love and war. So, that's what he's saying. It's all because of their insatiable desire. They don't know what they're doing. From another angle, they know what they're doing. But from a totally different angle, they don't know. They're actually doing wrong thing for themselves. Like parents who are pampering the child to a core, not knowing that they're destroying the child. Isn't it? So one lady who was attending my classes, she asked this question. She said, see, I come from a very, middle class family. No, she's well off. So she said, I come from a very middle class family. So we used to struggle a lot. So now I want to give a good life for my children. She said that. So is that wrong? She used another word, not good life, comfortable life, that sort of a thing she said. So I said, see, the thought is not wrong. But you must understand that by pampering them with this thought, rather than making them strong, you'll make them weak. You understand? You are not really doing good thing for the child. But thinking that you're doing good, you're pampering, but you destroy. So that's what is called delusion. So that's what he's saying. And we think this is how it should be lived in the world. So superficially, they do things seemingly right. But deep inside, it's all impure resolve, meaning selfish to the core. See, so much love they claim towards their own daughter, until the point she comes and says, I am in love with another boy who is from a so-called lower caste. And they go to the extent of killing the boy and this girl. What kind of love is this? Would that even qualify as love? It's just attachment. It's called impure resolve. They don't have any clarity. It's all selfishness. Me and mine. That's the only philosophy. So that's why he says, abiding in insatiable desire. They think, okay, this much, I'll be happy. No. Once you come there, nothing hai, aur. So, with that, they put on a show as if in the front it is like this. Behind it's all and arrogance. It's only catering to their ego. When you look at somebody who has more than you, you develop jealousy. Somebody who has less than you, you develop arrogance. And they're proud, I've achieved this, I've achieved that. See, no sensible fellow will claim everything as his. In fact, victory, you will say so many people contributed. Loss, you will say you will take the responsibility if you are a good leader. So it should be. Later on, you may do soul searching, what went wrong and all that. But a good leader will do what? When they are victorious, they'll say, I dedicate this to everybody who worked for it. Correct? When they are failure, they'll say, my team worked well, yet something went wrong, we failed, I'll take the full responsibility. Do you understand? Now, what will the pride and arrogant fellow do? I am responsible for the victory. He will put it like that. Everything is me. But really speaking, even now, for example, when I'm talking, I'm talking on Bhagavad Gita, given by sage Vyasa, given by Sri Krishna, written down by sage Vyasa, and so many gurus through verbal conversation maintained it, and then nowadays it's available in books. And my guru happened to have compassion to teach me, and my parents took care of me, society took care of me. Now when I'm teaching, so many people are taking care of us, and then it's going. So to say everything is because of me is madness, stupidity, isn't it? No wise person will say that. Egoistic fellow, everybody will be put in the background and claim everything. It's all because of me. And then total arrogance, not seeing the laws working, gripped by evil ideas. Evil means what? Egocentric. Good means what? Self-centered. Self, capital S, not small self, not selfish. When it's focused, the welfare of the whole world, it's good. It's just me, evil. Me at the cost of others, evil. So evil ideas through delusion, they work with impure resolve. They come, see, the mind is more possessed. Arjuna asks in the 6th chapter, he says, Chanchalam hi manakritva, pramati balavad dridam. He gives 4 adjectives to the mind. First is chanchalam. Chanchalam, restless. Pramati means turbulent. Balavat, strong. Dridam, obstinate. This is the mind. Your mind, my mind, everybody's mind. So when I'm overpowered by desire, my mind becomes restless. Still I get it. I need it. You understand? Then it becomes turbulent. And then it becomes more and more strong day by day. And dridam, obstinate. Till I get it, do it, I will not risk it. That's what he's saying, with impure resolve. They go and do it. That's how the demoniac people work, he says. Let's conclude. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.